Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on Freedom FN. It is 7.9 in Liberia, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you're joining us from. This is another edition of Liberia Shall Rise. My name is Emmanuel George. I'm going to be your host, and we're going to be on the theme of Uncover this wonderful Sunday, the first Sunday in the month of May, the 4th of May. This is the month of Mother's Day. So as we prepare for Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to all our mothers out there, all the sons out there. Get ready to go to the store to purchase something beautiful for your mothers, for your wives, for your girlfriend, your partner, whatsoever you call the person in your life who happens to be a female. But it's great to be in your home this evening. Uncovered is a program that goes behind the story that you have been reading in the news. We go behind to see to discover what is the backdrop, what is the scene, what is going on, and how that is affecting our everyday lives. And why is it important for us to know more of the story? So, on this edition of Cover, we're going to be uncovering the recent story that appeared in our newspapers in Liberia, Front Page Africa, Daily Observer, Online Liberia Investigator, various online platform concerning the situation at the University of Liberia. I'm going to read the story on Front Page Africa, April 30. This was what the story, that is the story. Um, in a move to restore credibility and academic integrity, the president of the University of Liberia has dismissed 8 employees following the findings of months-long investigation into coordinated academic fraud across key departments. The decision comes in the wake of a 4-month probe conducted by a special committee to investigate academic fraud, which uncovered systemic misconduct involving staff from the Department of Public Administration, the Office of Enrollment Services, and the Office of Information Technology. Academic fraud is an antithesis of academic integrity and the enemy of academic excellence. So, in addition to the dismissal, one staff member has been suspended until the end of 2025, while 2 others were exonerated due to insufficient evidence. Although the investigation referenced the controversial Door Cooper incident, no detailed findings regarding Cooper's role were released. The University of Liberia also announced a package of sweeping reforms designed to institutionalize accountability and prevent future abuse. Among reforms, Amongst the reforms is the transformation of an ad hoc investigative committee into a permanent body called the Committee to Investigate Academic Fraud. So you may be wondering why we want to discuss this whole issue of academic fraud. Over the period of time in Liberia, there have been series of allegations against permanent people in our society who have been pointed out or fingered out or pointed to of being engaged in academic fraud. Now, academic fraud investigation is extremely important. The reason why it's important because, as the story says, is it helps a university to develop integrity. It helps the university to know that the program that they have is being protected by individuals who want to protect the system and make the system non-vulnerable to fraudulent people. But this case is extremely interesting because it involves a leading officer in our government, an inspector general at the Ministry of Commerce. That is a leading role. And that is a role that was appointed by President Joseph Boycott, a gentleman by the name of Door Cooper. He alleged that he went to the University of Liberia and graduated and had a degree. But whereas many of you who are in the university system are spending 4 years of your time studying day and night, burning the candles in order for you to pass, Mr. Cooper is alleged to have a door of money so that he could finish his academic program in time. In fact, his enrollment is questionable. Therefore, the University of Liberia have withdrawn his degree. So Mr. Cooper no longer have that bachelor degree say he had in public administration. But added to this, there's a story that he was dismissed as Inspector General. That is kudos to the Boycott government if they are dismissing. But keep permanent person in our society. Why should they engage in such fraudulent behavior to go to the University of Liberia? Why? What is the reason of doing that? And that's why should grow up with our minds. Now, for those of you who are listening to my voice and watching me on Facebook and YouTube, that's in the academics, especially the university, there are academic ranking of university around the world. The University of Liberia, I think it doesn't. It's not among the first 100 universities in Africa. Although the University of Liberia is one of the oldest university in the country, I think University of Liberia is for 5,000 something or 10,000 something amongst university on the continent of Africa. That means we are very, very low, and that should be our premier university. One university in Liberia. In fact, the very team of the University of Liberia is the light that is in the darkness. Unfortunately, there seems to be among the darkness of many universities, and especially when you talk about academic ranking of university in Africa. I will get to the academic ranking so that you all can understand what I'm talking about. Uh, can understand what I'm talking about academic ranking of universities in Africa. So University of Liberia is not among the first 100. So if they are not among the first 100, definitely it would never be among the first 10. And that is extremely, extremely important and worrisome. Because, look, when universities are being ranked, this is the metric they look at. First, what is your research output? Second, your academic reputation. And three, your teaching quality. So what Mr. Cooper did, and this is not the first time that we have this happening in Liberia. We had a release from the University of Liberia sometimes in 2023, where there was also academic fraud at that university. So it seems like the whole issue of academic fraud, I mean, Mr. Cooper has been brought up now. There was an investigation before. And even when Mr. Cooper investigation was going on at the Louis Arthur Grant School of Law, there were several professors who resigned because of the same academic issue that was taking place in the Louis Arthur Graham School of Law. A school which in the 1970s and some part of the early 80s was the #1 law school on the continent of Africa at that time. So when you have this kind of situation, it's important that we as people, we rise up against it. Our fight should not always be political, but this is also, but it's not always political, because most of the time it seems our fight having to be, oh, what the government doing today, what the government doing tomorrow. But when you have our university being about a number around 10,000 or something in Africa and around the world, and we have to develop our university to be one that is respected, this fraud, we must start speaking against it. We must stop it. We must applaud, first of all, the administration of the University of Liberia for taking this drastic measure, for dismissing its staff, including a head of department. Can you imagine a head of department was part of this fraud? And the head of the Department of Public Administration, someone who's supposed to be making sure that his department is academically strong and his reputation is intact, one who is linked towards this situation. So now, what it means by academic reputation? Academic reputation means that your grading system, your grading system is on time. Your students are getting the right level of education, that they are not using 2000 and 1980 book in the 2000s. They have access to technology. They have access to professors who are constantly being trained and are writing and being engaged in what is happening in the world. So those are that's what academic reputation is all about. So if you have a system where someone could graduate from the University of Liberia and be given a degree without that person going through proper admission into the university, that is an academic crime, and that's academic fraud. And that's the situation we have with Mr. Dodd. And that situation now has put the university in jeopardy, and it also questions the certificate of every one of us. Those of us who walk through the doors of LU in a proper and right channel, our degrees will be questioned when we go to other parts of the world, because information go out, information are shared. When those information go out and those information are shared, then we definitely know that that it also affects our students who's graduating with degree from the University of Liberia. So we should be applauding this, and we should be speaking heartily to this situation. What should happen next? I think Mr. Dor Cooper should be taken to court and prosecuted, because what he did was not only against the University of Liberia, but also against the laws of the Republic of Liberia. So I believe the university should take him to court and prosecute him for the level of fraud. And then we should be working on different channels in the University of Liberia to make sure that this does not happen. But the thing about this conversation is for you to think about how the level of fraud in the academic system in Liberia. There are so many. We have situations where teachers are doling out grades to students who become the hard, who pay them for grades. We have situations where we have heard of female students being harassed by lecturers for sex for grades. We have situations where there are people who even go to class and classes who get a grade at the end of the semester. So the whole issue is it permits Liberian educational system from high school, junior high, and at the level of junior high school. So we should, in as much as we speak about academic fraud now at the University of Liberia, and this report that was given on April 30th, we should now go to our different high schools, second junior high schools, in order for us to crop this thing that is eating into the fabric of our educational system. The issue of people not wanting to study, but they want to pass to another class or another grade. So it is in this direction now that I'm going to bring up my Dr. Positive is here with us. Dr. Positive, let me bring Dr. Positive is here with us. Dr. Positive, let me bring Dr. Positive is here with us. Okay, Dr. Positive, you've been looking at this whole issue of fraud. I've spoken introducing with the University of Liberia. So when what are your thoughts on this situation? I think you are muted, sir.
Stephen, we can't hear you. You are muted. We can't hear you. You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we're hearing you now.
thanks for inviting me. This is a serious thing for Liberia, right? Our educational system, people try to blame it on the war, and I would say it's too far-fetched now. They need to forget about the war. We need to put in a system in place where we have value for the education we create. And just for disclaimer here, we have people that still go through this corrupt system and become great people. But today we're talking about the problem that is impacting our society. Because if we don't have a good educational system, we cannot develop, we cannot invent new stuff, we cannot move forward as a society. So the fact that this action is even taken by the university, I want to applaud them for taking that action, because everybody look at what you put out, and if people are completing the highest level of education in our country and paying for it without going to class one day, that's not good for our country. You understand? Integrity matters. So these people that complete those programs, if they already pay bribe to go and achieve their degree, when that person become public official, there's nothing you can do to tell them that they shouldn't take bribe, because they didn't go to school, they pay their way through school. So that's the first problem. Then when they become officials, anybody that giving them bribes, they're just going to accept it. So this is a big problem. It's not just for this one situation. We need to look at all our higher education, even from kindergarten, not kindergarten, but elementary. We have to start making sure that bribery gets stopped from the lower level all the way to the university level. I'll let Sharif come in, and I'll go back in the background and continue to share.
Yeah, Mr. Sherry have gone off, but yeah, we get him. We'll get him back. Yeah, but you see, this gentleman already had a job. He was working as an inspector general, and his job was an integrity job. His duty was to make sure that for the inspector general of commerce, to make sure that the goods and services we have in our country the goods and services that is in our country are worth the market price, that the business people were selling properly to our people, that things will not expire on the market. And this gentleman who is in an integrity position as Inspector General at the Ministry of Commerce, how can he be a man of integrity when he already buying grades?
I'll let Sherry answer that. It's sad, right? Because it's like already this person has stolen their way to the position, and then Dr. George, don't forget about this person that had a position, right? Our government, what is the procedure that we go through to validate people credentials when we are hiring them? That's another question that we I hope you can kind of go into later on, because the whole government itself is a failure to hire somebody, right, that have this credential that is bogus. Even in our own country, that's a big problem. If the person even came from Ghana, if that credential came from Ghana, Sierra Leone, or the United States or somewhere else, you can say, all right, that's international. So the Liberian government, they didn't have money to travel overseas to obtain the right validation. But within Liberia, if we cannot figure out that somebody is not a valid student of University of Liberia, tell me, if I bring a certificate from Turkey, who's going to validate that my certificate is right or my degree is valid? So I will let Sharif come in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
gentlemen,
Sherry, I
go
mean,
ahead,
then
Dr.
follow.
George. Go ahead.
You want the government to go, how they call it. I think that Inspector General at the Ministry of Commerce is a political appointee. I think so. It should not be. It's supposed to be a civil servant position, I believe. So I think it's a guy. No, personally, I appointed his Inspector General and sent when he left, the Inspector General left. So this gentleman must have been so it's a political appointee. So that tells you the judgment of the people who are giving names to the president, because I mean, somebody who grabs a way through school did not go through the process of admission, pay the admission office for him to be enrolled, and pay his way to go through the department to graduate from school. That person is the head of our one of our integrity institution, the Inspector General of Commerce. So I don't know why he's inspecting, but I mean, but anyway, there's a saying like, brother, only thief can know a friend thief.
Yeah, so I think maybe after the man got his degree, he went to seek forgiveness with God. Like we usually say, we go and seek forgiveness, and then maybe now he's a highly integral person. So let's hope.
That may be possible, but look at it, man. I think I'm going to check. Yeah.
But but gentlemen, I like what we're discussing today, though. I know we are talking about, I know the focus is on the University of Liberia, but I really want to go all the way back to high school, to junior high, to middle school. While we were in school, back in this country, I mean, I knew several students, I knew lots of students who did not get the grades in school, but they bought their way through school. I used to joke about it. I always say this. I made so much money in high school, I'm not even going to joke about that. Because there were students who did not study, who did not care to do homework. And some of us, because we burned the midnight candle, we were getting money from those students. And when we were not able to help them, those students were buying their way through high school. Some of those same teachers that were supposed to be in position of trust, they were sleeping with those students to give them grades. So this is not a new phenomenon in high school, I tell you. It's not a new phenomenon. This actually starts its way from high school and make its way through the University of Liberia. So the problem you see in the University of Liberia right now, where students are buying grades, and professors sleeping with students just to give them grades, it's not a new thing. Let's go way back from high school.
Yeah, but how would be that, Mr. Sheriff? Because we have laws in our country that you not so to sleep with underage children.
We think we have laws in the country.
Most of the children in high school are between the age of 16 and 18 years old. So no teachers ought to be chopping those students because they are underage students. They are not the age, how to call it. So, but
teachers should not be sleeping with them.
Yeah, because they are underage.
Sharif, I don't know why you say
We got so many laws on the book in Liberia. We got so many laws on the book in Liberia. However, though, are those laws being implemented? Are they being followed through?
Mr.
You
Doe,
know, you have.
Mr. Cooper was Inspector General. That's only where he's sort of do, but he also from. And so I think
so, so I mean, the man who's the inspector general, who's supposed to be inspecting some of those things, he himself bought his way through college. What do you think he's going to do? They turn blind eye to those kind of things. People, I mean, Dr. George, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it this way. But the things that we think is a big deal, you know, when you look at the United States where you reside and where other we reside, the United States, those laws are very, I mean, they are taken very seriously. And
yeah.
if a teacher is caught, those teachers are brought to shame and they are penalized. They go to court, they go to jail, and they face the dance. But now in places like Liberia, I mean, just think about the culture, for example. You will have a grown man, whether he's 36 or 40-year-old man, sleep with a 16 or 17-year-old girl, and the parents will not even press charges on that particular individual. They will not do it. So think about someone else who is in a position of trust. Whether that person is a teacher, whether that person is a police officer, whether that person is a politician. Most of these politicians, they have that way with these girls. So who's going to fight for those people?
Are the
And so
parents
what's happening in the school is it's a societal problem.
are the parents aware that a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old, I mean 18-year-old is of age at the level? Are they aware that their daughters 15, 16, 17-year-old sleeping with their teachers or how they call it in the society?
Dr. George.
Dr. George,
Yeah.
Dr. George, I'll tell you this. I will tell you this. You know, I only have one example to point to because this happened in the community where I reside. These parents, they are actually putting pressure on their youngsters, on our young children, their young daughters, to go out there because they are now the breadwinners. As sad as it sounds, those young children, they are the breadwinners in their families. And so those children can go out and those men can abuse them. Their parents will encourage them to go back because they're bringing something to the table. They're bringing something in a home where those parents can survive on. And so I don't think those students are going home and say, oh, mom or dad, my teacher slept with me just to give me a grade. First, it's a big blow on the student itself. Why the hell you didn't do your homework and you have to go sleep with a teacher to get grades?
Because
So it is a big shame.
if you say the parent giving that mean the parent was not monitoring them in school because it's a responsibility.
Exactly.
It's a responsibility
Exactly. So that's what's happening.
to work with their children to go through school. So if the parents not doing that, they should they should go and sleep with a teacher to get grade. Who will monitor them to study?
You know, and Dr. George, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. You know, since I've been in this country visiting, one of the things I've heard many times, many people say, matter of fact, somebody was telling me yesterday that Friday is like a national holiday in Liberia. And when they say that, what they mean, Friday is an entertainment night. So if you expect a student to be studying Friday night, to be burning the candle, to actually be doing homework, to be studying, to make grades, you'll be mistaken. Because those students, they are actually in the nightclubs, they are actually in the entertainment center, they are on the beaches, they are having fun. What time they have to go do schoolwork? And because they're not doing schoolwork, they have to compensate for that somewhere. They either go and sleep with the teacher to make that grade, or they bribe their way to school. They can find someone in school who's going to do that homework for them and they pay that individual. So students are not taking that school seriously. I mean, the responsibility should also be on the students. I don't think we should just talk about the teachers who sleeping with those students.
Mr. Sherry, let me take Dr. Positive. I will come back to you. But before that, let me ask the two of you the question. You both need to study Friday night.
Oh yeah, Dr. George. Yes, so Dr. George,
Right? I
Dr.
just
George,
Friday they were both closed. But go ahead.
Dr. George, Dr. George,
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like Cherie said, right?
Uh-huh.
So if I didn't study, I had to walk to school, right? So the question that is going on here is what is motivating these kids to want to go to school, right? There's no motivation right now in the whole society to say people why people should go to school. Because if you find like the inspector general pay his way to school, somebody in sixth grade right now or seventh grade right now will say, if somebody pay money, once my parents have money and I can find money, I'm just going to pay my way too, because this guy at this higher position already pay his way. You know, during our time, my motivation was if I study, maybe I will get on a roll, right? Because I was already in Morovia College because I got a scholarship, right? So my motivation was to keep studying. Now, that motivation kept me going, because if I didn't study, I would fail. And then if I didn't know how to do my homework or I didn't know the subject, I couldn't help other people to get transportation to go home. So me not studying meant I will either walk home or I won't have lunch. You
But
understand?
you
So
want to do, you have to go through other thing. But let me make this correction. According to Edu, the Universal Library rank 199 amongst the 1,104 universities that were ranked by EduRank. In the world, according to EduRank, the Universal Library is ranked 5,448. According to Web Metrics, the Universal Library is ranked 6,414th in the world. So that's the ranking. And the Universal Library is the oldest degree granting institution in West Africa. So that's how old we are. But yet, when it comes to the top 10 university in Africa, Universal Library is nowhere inside. But let's go back to you, Mr. Dr. Positive, and then Mr. Cherry. Most of the thing, I mean, I don't think male boys are involved in this issue that we're talking about in the high school area, that they have to sleep for
no,
grade.
Dr. Judge, I mean, publicly, I would tell you guys this, right? It was also sadly for the boys, if you don't have money to pay the teacher, you had to do something like work for the teacher or do some kind of, you had to pay something. If you didn't study, you had to pay for it, right? Now we have homosexuality going on in Liberia now. Some of the boys, if you don't study, like me for typical example, we had a teacher called Patrick Veskinder. Even though I was smart, I was doing my homework. Patrick Veskinder wanted to sleep with me because he said he liked me. And I refused to give in on him, but he found a whole lot of means to get me in trouble all the time. So I was always in trouble in Mr. Veskinder class. But I was studying. Huh?
I was in Liberia.
Liberia, Morovia College, yeah, at that time, 1995 to 97. You understand? So when I go to class, I used to be afraid, because once I'm in that guy class, he will find every means. The man was like, so right now with homosexuality on the rise, if a homosexual teacher is in that class, he will also sleep with the boys to get his way if they can pass the class. So it's not just girls that are being impacted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Mr. Sherry of Liberia, for those of you joining us, we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. We are also on Freedom FM 87.9 Liberia. This is Liberia Shall Rise. The first Sunday edition is the Uncover. And we are uncovering the Liberian academic system, especially looking at the case from the University of Liberia, April 10th, 30th reporting, Front Page Africa, Data Observer, Liberia Investigator, and other leading online platform and other newspapers that share that the University of Liberia have cramped down on academic fraud. Surrounding the Inspector General of Liberia, I believe he had been fired by the president from that job, that he paid his way through the university. Eight staff of the university was fired. And we believe we must commend the University of Liberia for doing that. But we are also looking at a broader academic system in Liberia, the issue of fraud. It's not only payment of money. We're learning that most of our young ladies have sleeping with their teachers in order for them to get grades to pass. And with Mr. Dr. Positive case, a teacher wanted to sleep with him, who was a homosexual. And this is this impedes the integrity of the grades you have, the results you. So let me bring back in Dr. Mr. Sheriff. You stay here with me?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm still with you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, I mean, there are laws on the book, right? So this thing will also go to the Inspector General of the Ministry of Education. We don't know who the Inspector General of Education is. We don't know if they also purchase their grade to go through school. But when you hear this story, because you're just visiting Liberia for a couple of weeks, you hear the story of girls sleeping with grades, and we have laws on the book. There are laws that prohibits adults from sleeping with underage girls, and
That's right.
uh,
Hmm.
when you hear this kind of story, then what do you think about the Ministry of Education? What do you think they are doing there if they have an inspector general in that ministry?
You know, you would think I would be surprised, but I'm not surprised at all. If I had not gone to school here in Liberia, then of course it will be one of those surprising factors for me. But I did my primary and secondary schools in Liberia. I even started my tertiary school in Liberia before immigrating to the United States. So I know exactly that these things they happen. I was a witness to some of these things in the secondary school I attended. So I know these things happen and it will not stop. And, I want to be clear though that this is not just a Liberia issue. This is, for some reason, I want to say, not even a West African issue. This is an African issue, if you will. I mean, we have some of these cases also in the United States, but it is not sometimes it is not for grades, but it is just a teacher taking liking to a student, a teacher sleeping with underage student. And so those individuals are brought to books, and we have some of those individual cases in the United States. So I want to be very clear on that. It's not just a Liberia issue. But like the incident I saw in Ghana, it was Nigeria. Incident I saw. I mean, this student had been harassed so much to sleep with the professor for grades that this student actually had a recording. They did a recording. They did a video. They just had a camera attached to this student and went to this professor's class office. And this professor, all he kept saying was he actually wanted to sleep with a girl. He did not want anything else. He did not want money from the girl, and he was sitting there fondling himself on recording, and this thing was recorded and brought to the university, and eventually he was let go. So I think those things should actually be implemented in our schools, starting with the junior high, the senior high, and all the way to the university level. I mean, maybe today we are talking about the University of Liberia, but there are several other universities in Liberia. And each of those universities, you have these things happening because when the students are used to it from high school, it carries over into college. And so these things are happening. Students are still going to continue to sleep with teachers. Students are still going to be buying grades from teachers. And students are still going to, I mean, teachers are still going to be pressuring, especially young girls, to sleep with them just to be able to give them grades. It is sad, but the Ministry of Education, like you said, Dr. Roberts, Dr. George, I agree with you. The Inspector General at the Ministry of Education, when these cases are brought forth, it should be thoroughly investigated, and those professors or teachers should actually be penalized to deter some of these things from happening.
Yeah, and also the schools too. I mean, we can bang on the Ministry of Education, but the schools too should have some internal governance system because this children are underage. It should be illegal. I agree with you. We have cases here in the United States. We have cases in other parts of Africa, but here in the U.S., those cases are limited. You hear it only once in a while. I know in Texas, 2 years ago, a teacher ran away with his student, but they were arrested. I know they were arrested again. Parents reported again. But again, this is, I think, another challenge that we have because you say parents are the one encouraging a 16, 17, 18-year-old daughters to be going off with men above their age. I mean, let me put a disclaimer because I'm going to say something that will have sexual content. So if you have a little child around, please either make the radio low or allow that child to get away from there. Uh, thank you. So how do these teacher enjoy sex, having sex with these students for grades? What is the motivating factor in it? Uh, I mean, sex should be something that is of pleasure to both person. How will you have sex with someone who having sex with you just because they want you to get a grade? Dr. Possibly, how you did it?
So that
Dr. Dr. George, let me just say something real quick, Dr. Paul. I'm so sorry to interrupt you there, brother. But let me say something real quick. I attended a Christian school here in Liberia. And that
Mm.
Christian school I attended, I'm not going to say the name of the school. I attended a Christian school, very respected Christian school at the time that we attended. That school was one of the best in Monrovia. Do you know a teacher in that school married one of our classmates? Married one of our classmates because this teacher was going out with this girl and we knew it. And we knew it, and the administration of the school knew it. And when we graduated, it didn't take long. They got married. I'm not going to say their name. They got married. Everybody know. They got married. No, it was not hidden for anyone. The fact that the administration did nothing about it, the fact that the students did nothing. I graduated way back in 98. 98. So if that was happening back then, and I was in school at the time, it's just getting worse now. Students are spending most of their time on TikToking. They are spending most of the time Instagramming. They are spending most of the time doing other things. They don't have time to study. And so they look at it to be a mutual benefit to each other. The professor or the teachers, they are getting sex, and the students, in turn, they are getting the grades. So at the end of the day, those students are graduating from university with empty heads, empty brains. They got nothing to carry to the job site. They got no experience. And that is happening on a regular basis from high school. Look at a high school student. Tell a high school student to compose you a good email. You'll be disappointed. Look at a university graduate. Tell them to compose you a good email. You'll be disappointed because these students are just making their way through college by either providing sex or getting money. And because of that, the education system is going down. And so
Yeah,
you think the
in the
professor, yeah,
age of consent. I'm at the university like brother age of consent. We can frown against the grave of sex, but that's age of consent. That's 18, 19, 20
sure.
years age of consent. My concern is the little children in high school who have not reached the age of consent, and these elderly gentlemen with penetrating them and destroying their future in that direction. But even with that, as you said, parents are encouraging their children to go into that because our young girls, I think we do a show on that. Our young girls are becoming breadwinner at the age of 15, 16, 17 years old for their home. That is appalling. That is wrong. That is something that we as a society must speak against. I mean, we definitely have to frown upon that seriously. Yes, Dr. Positive.
Yeah, so that the judge, you asked the question why at that age teachers are looking at children, or teachers are sleeping with young children or people. So there's two things to this, right? One, what I saw in my situation was power, right? The teachers have all powers. Our parents gave teachers this power that is kind of like is known without even telling you. You cannot yell at a teacher. You cannot say anything to your teacher, right? That's so we respected our teachers. So because of that, these teachers have so much power over all their students, right? That's the first thing. And then the second thing I'm seeing is I'm not a psychologist, but as humans, we have sexual tendency, right? So if you have a person that is a sex predator already in a society, in a place where he have no check and balance, then it becomes worse. You understand? Then it becomes worse. So the guys that are in the schools that are sleeping with the children, definitely you can consider some of them as sex predators, right? Because they're in that society, they're in that place, nobody is checking on them. They have the power to do it, so they just continue to do it. And they keep abusing people over and over and over and over. There was a sad situation. This girl came on Facebook from Nigeria. She said the teacher was trying to sleep with her. It happened to find out that she told her mother said, "Oh, just forget that person." Come to find out, this guy, and then later on, she fell in love with another boy who was from the same school, right? Come to find out, this teacher was her father, her biological father, who had raped her mother when
Mm.
she was in school, and the mother had this child. Then the mother knew it, but she didn't tell the daughter. So her own father, who was a teacher, was trying to sleep with her also. Then she fell in love with a boy who she found out was her brother from the same teacher too. Because there's a crazy story, but this girl,
You just go around dropping seeds.
yeah,
Okay.
you understand? So it's the thing of predator and then a power. Those are the two things that I see because my situation, it wasn't like I was a dull student. I was on the roll, I was doing well. But this guy saw something that he wanted that power over me to say, all right, I'm going to destroy him as a person. So I want to abuse him so he can feel like he's nothing. You understand? So that's what I saw from the situation that I experienced, and I know a lot of children are going through it. And even if they try to go and tell their parents, are the parents listening? What can the parents do? Is there a system? Is there any system in place that is continuous? Right? Let's say Omen Boaka come and put in a process in place right now to say, if you are a teacher, you sleep with a 16-year-old, you go to jail. When the next president comes, does that continue, or does the person that leading that entity get replaced? You understand? So the fact, I think it's a horrible situation, but we need to find some way
I
to
think
fix it.
we have laws in the books in Liberia about sleeping with underage girls. The same way with how we have law in the books and be something we'll do in the future about underage children hockey in the streets in Monrovia, which is popular. So there are laws in the book, and as Mr. Sherry said, the challenge we have is implementing those laws in the book. It's a transitioning too. The transitioning from 10, 20 years ago, where when you go to the semi or poro society at the age of 14, 15, well, you get somebody to marry. Maybe that's the transitioning of the law in the books to that part we're struggling with. But I think the Ministry of Education and principals in schools should start taking this seriously. No teacher should be sleeping with underage students. And if you see these students continue to college and they continue to sleep for grades, because at the age of 14, 15, a teacher had sex with them and gave them grades, so they felt that they don't need to work for their grades any longer. And the same thing with a male student who have to work for teachers in order for them to gain it. But our friend River says Pro put send this question. Should
Dr.
we prioritize
George, let me, Dr. George,
results?
let me say something real quick before we go to Riverside Pro question.
Yeah.
I think my problem here is, again, it is not about the implementation of those laws that we have on the book in Liberia. There are laws on the book,
But
but again, the implementation, the,
but
impl- the, the implementation is very weak. The implementation of those laws are very weak, and because you don't have a system in place where students are safe to report. It makes it very hard for the system to work for them. Like, say, for example, in the state of Colorado, they have a system called Safe to Tell, right? A student can call and report a professor or report a teacher or report any incident that they find to be disturbing. They can report because it's called Safe to Tell. They can report anonymously. They don't have to say their name. They can just call and say, oh, Professor Sharif, he asked me for sex to give me grade. They can report those instances without even saying their name. But in Liberia, though, you don't have those systems in place. You don't have those things in place. Where are those students supposed to report? The students are afraid that if they even go and report a professor, they are afraid of what's going to happen. What is that professor going to do? If you turn one professor down in school, or you report one professor, all of these professors, they talk among themselves. So if you do one thing to one professor, they're going to tell their friends. And all of these professors, because they meet, they discuss, they talk, and before you know, that student is blacklisted in the university. And that one student, all the professors put them on a blacklist because there's no system. And so these professors use that to their advantage, whether they're abusing the students, whether the high school teachers sleeping with these girls. I mean, it is just a very, very bad system. There's no system in place. There's no reporting system. So I know every time we talk about these things, people get vexed. They start posting all kind of comments. Let them get angry. Let them get crazy. Let them talk. Let them do what they want to do. But these things have to stop. Our little daughters, our sisters, our brothers in school, they are not sex toys. Professors need to stop abusing them. They need to go to school to learn. They are not there to pressure you just to get grades.
That's true. So our friend Russell Pro put this: should we prioritize experience or results over fake credentials? Liberia current foreign minister, current foreign minister has a questionable credential. However, she has proven track record. Look, I don't care how much track record you have. When you fake, you fake. And I don't know about the current foreign minister or degree. I followed the story, but I didn't. The Senate confirm her, and if the people in the Senate follow that her degree, they have more information than you and myself have. So I won't get into that. But in France, there was a foreign minister who had a fake doctorate degree, and they fired him. He had to resign. In the United Kingdom, they report that Tony Blair presented to the parliament for the Iraqi war was a PhD student at the University of Yale PhD project. He had to apologize when it became to light that it was a PhD student project that they used to convince parliament to go. So the whole issue of using fake credentials is that whether you doing the work well, you're not doing the work well. The thing is that once you use a fake credential, the credential is fake, fake, and fake. So you can have all the experience you want to have. All you can do is to go back to school. There are very credible online universities around the world. And if you are busy, you can be 10,000 feet in the air doing your lesson. So I don't believe in that. While other people are burning candles at night to pass, you going around buying degree and purchasing degree from schools. Some of the schools get PhD in 1 year. Which kind of school you go to, you get PhD in 1 year, and you're happy with
There's
that.
there's no school you can go to get a doctorate, to get a PhD in 1 year. You know, when
Exactly.
you start getting people getting PhD in 1 year,
Uh-huh.
that institution should be on a serious investigation.
So I don't know. My disclaimer is that I don't know nothing about the foreign minister credential. I did not read the credential. I read the stories about them, but she went to the Senate. The Senate has better information than I have, and they confirm her. But when you have fake credential, it has nothing to do with you are fraudulent, and therefore track record doesn't come into play in that light. It has been proven in France, and it was proven in the United Kingdom when Tony Blair knew someone PhD as his reference to go to war in Iraq. But let's come
I'll
back.
say, look, all of this beautiful conversation we having. I
Yeah,
think people are spending more time talking about our background screen. I'm
yeah.
enjoying it.
Guys,
I don't know why other
we
people
have a call, we
go
have
to
a caller. Let me take the caller.
background.
Hello. Hey guys, we have a caller. Let me take the caller, then we can go back to the
Yeah, take the
background.
caller. Let's hear what the caller got to say.
Yeah. Hello, your name and where you calling from?
It's your brother Pro.
Okay.
I don't know if you're taking a call now, but yeah, the topic is very interesting. So I decided to make my call because your person now you can run away, you can be too short. So
Go ahead.
yeah.
You got the flow.
I ain't like, get me in trouble. I ain't like, bro, don't get me in trouble.
Guys, I don't know how much you've been following the new UL president. That lady is great. She's phenomenal. She's doing a lot of great things. I listened to her last interview. The lady said, oh my God, the lady said a lot of things. She will make the university a PhD centric. In other words, to teach at UL, you must have PhD. I was even thinking about applying for my janitor job there. I'm afraid now, so maybe I got to have a bachelor's degree. But another thing is, I want us to have far back. Right now, I know she's tackling this thing, Dog Cooper, the Inspector General of State. But she said, the lady said something interesting. She said it has become a culture. That's fake degree. So apparently, a lot of people who have worked in government before, some of our top people back there who served in government, they operated with fake degrees. So now, but just because he had implemented this whole thing, other people just get caught up with it. But in the past, there are people, some of these great people that we thought, they were all that. Now we are finding out that this thing been going because she said it's been decades and decades back. So, I mean, don't you think now that, so especially those people, do you guys believe that these degrees that were conferred upon them, How far back do you think we should go? I know it just happened to the Inspector General, but how far back should we go? Like people who are serving government and that they found that they have fake degree. What do we do? How far do we go to? Should we take away those degrees from them, whether they were final minister or whatever they serve in this country? How far should we go with this fake credential thing to expose people? That's my question, guys. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, Riverside Pro.
Yeah.
So let me just jump in quick because I already talked before you call. So I think the country ain't get money to go all the way back to 19 right? To be realistic, right? So what I would say is the government should first develop an independent entity that will be there to validate degrees for anybody that want to work in the government, right? Once that entity is put in place from 2025, let's say June 1st, once that entity is put in place, anybody that get a job with the government, their degree, credentials have to be validated through that entity. So from June 1st, 2025 to whatever time. So now everybody that currently working for the government, their degree will have to be sent there to be validated if the government want to spend that money, right?
Yeah, but see, so those people who slip through the crack, you mean we should just leave there?
No, they're not leaving. Those who are working for the government right
now. Here's my thing. Let me say this. You know, as far as no, I'm gonna speak according to my age. You know, I can't go back to the six. I can't go back to the 60s or the 70s. I don't know any of that because I was not born at that time. But I will tell you this. I can go back as far as President Samuel Kedo. We can go back to President Samuel Kedo and say, let's take your degree away from you. Even though he's dead and gone, but let's take out, you know, I mean, look, honorary degrees are respected. You know, there is honorary degree. But Samuel Doe took that to be really serious, like he earned it. It was honorary degree that he got. Your president, George Weah, I can go back to George Weah and say, let me take my honorary degree that we gave you. We'll take it back from you. Because they earned something. They did not earn it. They did not work for it. You know, there are a lot of people in government that don't have degrees, but today they are sitting in government like they have some kind of honorary degrees. And those same people are making a lot of stupid noise in the country, and the people in the country are suffering. They're not doing nothing to help the people. And some of these lawmakers, they need to be getting rid of. They need to be getting rid of from their constituencies. Bring people in that can do the job and deliver for the people. Education system in the country has to be corrected, got to be fixed in order for the country to move forward.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And Bro says, Pro, anytime they catch them, like that gentleman they caught, yeah, Mr. Doe, if his salary will increase because of him claiming he had a bachelor degree, you should be taking the court and pay the Liberian government all that money, extra money we gave him. So for me, I don't care when you were caught, but if the day they catch you, you are caught, like the University of Liberia have put a permanent body to investigate their degrees. If anybody is caught and that person is working in government, from the day they started working with that fake degree and the salary had to be increased, government should take them to court and they have to pay all every cent of that fraudulent money they have so that we can stop the situation in country. And
I agree.
Mr. Sapolosy, you are very right that most countries have accrediting bodies and hope we will be able to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for being a part of our show this evening. This is Liberia Shall Rise Uncovered. Next weekend, we're going to be back here with another edition of Table Talk where we'll be talking about something interesting. But we must take university accreditation, university integrity extremely serious. Even our high school students, we must be very serious with these teachers who are sleeping with our underage daughters. It is not fair to our children. It is not fair to our educational institution. And it's not fair even to the teachers who is giving out sex for grades. And to those parents who believe that a 15, 16, 17-year-old daughter should be the breadwinner for your home, shame on you. You must wake up to the reality. The day you decide to have sex with that lady and you impregnated her, you are deciding to take up a responsibility. That responsibility takes you until that child is up to the age of 20, 21. If you cannot live up to your responsibility, purchase condom. They're selling a lot in Liberia. Get one for yourself. And stop sleeping with our underage girls and stop having sex when you know you don't have the opportunity to take care of the responsibility you are bringing into this world. Do not start selling your children and making them prostitute. No, we must stop that in Liberia. If Liberia must be a great nation, parents, we have to make serious decisions. Teachers must start sleeping girls for grace. Principals must be clamming on the students. The Ministry of Education and Inspector must be carrying on inspectorate to stop this issue. And Mr. Dole should be made to return the money to the Republic of Liberia for that degree he said he had. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Evening until we see you next week. This is Emmanuel George. I was joined by Mr. Augustine Sharif and Dr. Positive. So our friends in Liberia 87.9. Have a good night. Good night to you all.